Hey y'all, it's Mary, and this is Mary Catherine Loves Cats, and welcome. And I am going to answer 50 questions about myself. Andy Does Stuff tagged me. She did this in a video, and I'll put that video below for you to see. And Andy was tagged by Erica Conker, so I'll put her video in here as below in the description as well. Both of these ladies are beautiful ladies. They do wonderful makeup. They do collabs together and with other ladies doing makeup. And they also do other things as well. They're just very beautiful ladies, and if you don't know them, I'm sure you do, but if you don't, go see them. And I'm going to answer these questions. So the first question is, what does my name mean? So Mary Catherine, Mary means beloved, and Catherine means pure. But I was named after, I wasn't named because of, what the names mean. I was named after my grandmother is Catherine. My mother's grandmother is Catherine, and my mother's favorite aunt was Mary. So that's how I got my name. And my mother's name is Mary, but I'm not named after my mother. But yeah, okay. What is my sign? I'm a Sagittarian. What is my shoe size? Some of these questions, what do they mean? I mean, who cares what my shoe size is? I'm 9.5. Do I have a birthmark? And I do not have a birthmark. I do have a mark on my skin here, but it came later in life. Maybe when I was 10, 11, 12, somewhere along the way, I have this discoloration on my skin here, and it goes up my neck. And my mother was very concerned it was going to go onto my face. And the doctor thought that it could, but it never has. I don't know if you can, it's very mild, if you can see it. Anyway, I don't even know what it's called. I used to know all that stuff, but I don't. And do I have any pets? Yes, I have 2 cats. I have Smudge and I have Blue. Something that I was teased about as a child, that would be my weight. Since I've been a little kid, I was chubby as a little kid. And if you look back at pictures of me, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 is when I started to get chubby. And then I thought, in school, I thought I was just an Amazon. I was tall. I'm not tall anymore, but I was tall at the time, taller than the boys and taller than most of the girls. So I just thought I was towering over everybody. I thought I was, 700 pounds, but I wasn't. I just was a little chubby. I wish that I was just a little chubby now. Okay. 3 biggest fears. This is a really hard question, I think, because there's so many things that we can be fearful of. But I tried to think about it, and most likely would be like losing a loved one, or a hard illness, a long, difficult illness for a loved one. Things like that. Having a sick pet, that type of thing. Sometimes I'm afraid of heights. I can't tell you when. It strikes sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't bother me. And then I also have a fear, if you want to call it a fear. I guess over the years I've learned to deal with it. Mice. I don't like mice, don't want mice. And the funny thing about that is, in high school I raised mice in science class. But that's a different situation than one being in your house. It's mice that are in my house. If they're outside, I'm perfectly fine. I never see any outside. But the same with bugs. I don't care if bugs are outside, but I don't want bugs in my house. Now, a spider in my house does not bother me because spiders eat other bugs. But if I see they have these big black bugs here, the cats like to play with them and murder them, which is good. But like here you get mosquitoes come in, it's flies sometimes, I don't like that. The smell that reminds me of childhood. Well, there's a few smells that remind me of childhood. And one of my favorite would be pine, like from the Christmas tree. We often had a real Christmas tree. And then a fake Christmas tree got real fancy, and we got one of those, and we missed the real Christmas tree. And then my mother's perfume. I can still smell it just talking about it. And why can't I think of the name of it right now? I can't think of the name. But it's fabulous. And I don't even know if they make it anymore. I think they do. I cannot think of the name of it, y'all. It's so weird. As soon as I turned the camera off, it came to me, Royal Secret. And it's really nice. I like it. I don't like it necessarily for myself, but I like it. It's perfect for my mother. Have I ever met someone famous? I have met a few famous people, y'all. I was in New York City, and I was walking down the street with my sister, and we ran into Steve Landesberg. And you might not know who that is, but he's from, because I'm old, but he's from Barney Miller. There was a TV show, a comedy that was called Barney Miller, and there were a bunch of detectives and cops on there. And Steve Landesberg was on there, and he was really funny and very intelligent. On the show, he played an intelligent guy, and he just was walking down the street. He had groceries. He had a bag of groceries, and I'm like, hey, like that. That was fun. And then I know, or I have met some Chicago people, newscasters, and Oprah. I've met her several times, more than just a few times. I babysat for a newscaster in Chicago. And how many children? I don't have any children, y'all. I was never blessed with children. Smudge was right here, and he went away. I have had one dog and 9 cats that I have had, through their lifetimes. Or I've gotten them, and they've died with me, or I still have 2 that are alive, and I've had countless rescue cats. And I've only really ever had, I have had a couple of dogs. I had a dog when I first moved here and got married, and the dog just could not live where I lived. He needed to farm, so we found him a farm. So that was a short-lived thing. I've had a couple of dogs like that. You know what I mean? So, but yeah. Anyway, favorite breakfast cereal would be shredded wheat. Do I have any scars? I do have a scar on one of my eyelids, and I was trying to look for it because it was very mild, and it was a big deal when it happened. When I was a kid, we were playing with punks. I think it was like 4th of July, and they give you we call them punks. They look like an incense stick, but you're supposed to use them to light the fireworks. But kids would, flash them and wave them around and stuff, and somebody bonked right into my eye. And I really don't even see it much anymore, but it was like, here or here. I think it was over here. I don't see it very much. Hey, Smudge, you coming up? How many surgeries have I had? All right, I have lived most of my life without any surgeries, and I'm really happy about that. Wanted to live my whole life without ever having to spend any time in the hospital, but that did not happen. I had to go to the hospital one time. I had to have my appendix removed. I think Blue is coming by. Yeah, so one time. My 3 biggest pet peeves. This is also a hard one to narrow it down to just 3. Now, I really am pretty easygoing, but there are some things that aggravate me. I was like a spelling champion in school. I don't like misspelling. I don't like bad grammar, even though I use bad grammar often. And I don't like cursing. So I like respect and courtesy. That's what I like. And like things like you are. I don't like when people use you, the letter U and the letter R. And you are, that whole thing. People use Y-O-U-R wrong all the time, and it irritates me. But I don't say anything about it. I just take a deep breath and move on. I'm not that anal, thank goodness. What kind of car do I drive? I drive a Ford Escape, which is a SUV. What traits do I find attractive in a mate? I definitely am attracted to intelligence and humor and loyalty. How old was I when I got my driver's license? When I was 15, 16, when you're learning to drive. My father, my brother had gotten his driver's license already. He's 1.5 years older than me. And by the time I was getting ready to get my license, my brother had already totaled a car, maybe even 2, I think 1. And my father was very stern. And I was scared to death to drive with my dad, scared to death. So I was my mom kept saying to my dad, you have to let her drive. You have to let her drive. Well, we were going out as a family. It was in the evening. We were on our way to the garage. The house was closed up. It's not like you could just run back. I had flip-flops on. My dad said, okay, well, fine, just drive. So he let me drive and I had flip-flops on. Now, I can drive with many things on now, but when you're a kid and you don't know how to drive and your dad says drive and you have flip-flops on, I drove all the way to my grandmother's house, and then we got close to my grandmother's house, and I went to turn the corner, and my flip-flop, whatever, and I flew around the corner, and that was it. I don't think my dad ever let me drive again. So I didn't get my driver's license till I was 18. So a cousin took me and helped, practiced and stuff and took me. My first pet was a dog named Pal. He was a German Shepherd, and we only had him for a very short time. I don't know how long, maybe a month. Again, the situation, he was way too big for our housing situation. So my father says that he got him a farm to live on. Now, I don't know, to this day, I don't know if that's true or not. I hope so. He was beautiful. And then we did have a cat. We got a cat when I was maybe 9 or 10, maybe less, maybe 7 or 8. I don't really remember. Her name was Misty, and she was gorgeous, of course. The sickest that I've ever been. I have had a couple times that I've been really bad sick, y'all. When I was sick before the appendix situation, I was sick for 5 weeks. I had some pain. I didn't have a lot of pain. I'm a person that doesn't have a lot of pain, knock on wood. I've just been blessed with pain tolerance, maybe. I don't really know. But I was having some icky feelings, so I went to the doctor. They couldn't find anything. I went to the gynecologist. They couldn't find anything. The gynecologist thought I might have a urinary tract infection or kidney infection, so they started me on antibiotics. Went back to the regular doctor, couldn't find anything. They did all kinds of x-rays. They found all kinds of things. Oh yeah, they found all kinds of things wrong with me. Like I said, the kidney infection, which that never was proven because they lost the results. It's a whole comedy of errors. But I was at my doctor 3 times, and I was at the gynecologist twice. And at the doctor's office, they took x-rays and stuff. I have no cartilage in my hip. I think it's my left hip. So my hip just grinds, and that doesn't bother me. See, that doesn't bother me. So, and that should bother you. I should need a hip replacement or something, but it doesn't bother me. And I have knee issues and ankle issues and all kinds of issues. But that appendix thing was not awful. But I really was nauseous before it actually was finally figured out. The third visit to the regular doctor, it was so funny. She comes in the office, she says, I think your appendix is whatever they call that. I think you're having an appendicitis or whatever it's called. And she was so excited. And I'm like, why are you so happy? Because she was so happy. She said, well, because I'm a doctor. People come to me for colds and stuff. They don't come, people go to emergency rooms for this kind of thing. So she was so excited to actually see it. So, and that's exactly what it was. So, anyway, the surgeon told me that the Cipro, which is the antibiotic that the gynecologist gave me, probably kept me alive, saved my life, because the little bit of pain that I was in, he said, it's amazing you didn't die in your bed. And so it's a good thing I went to the doctor that day. Actually, I was at work and my coworker said, you need to go to the doctor. Anyway, but that is not the worst that I ever felt. You would think so, like I said, but I would say that I've had food poisoning and or flu. I hardly get the flu, but I had food poisoning twice in my life. I would say, again, how do I know if it was food poisoning or flu? Nobody else was sick around me. My cousin got sick with a food poisoning that I had, so that's why I think I had that, where I was so sick, just vomiting up my insides because there's nothing left in there, and diarrhea, the whole thing at the same time. And then you live alone and you have to clean up your mess by yourself, and you're crying on the floor, trying to sleep on the floor in your vomit. Yeah, that's like the worst I've ever been. That's happened to me twice, y'all, where I've just been so sick. I couldn't even get out of bed to get the door. My neighbor went and got me medicine. I called into my doctor. The neighbor went to get my medicine. I had to call my ex-husband to come and break into my house to let her in my house to get me medicine. And he did say, please let me take you to the urgent care or something. And I'm like, I can't. Because I can't even I can't, because I will vomit all over your car. So anyway, TMI. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay. Favorite slang word that I use often. I don't know that I use slang words, but Andy kept saying that she says cool, and I say cool all the time. So I guess I'm just really old-fashioned, because that is an old one. So that'll be my word. Something I do that bugs my kids. Don't have any kids. Favorite candy bar. I don't have a favorite candy bar. I love anything chocolate. I love it. And but if I have to pick, I guess I like Mounds bars. I like Almond Joys. I like Snickers. My favorite as a kid used to be Three Musketeers. I hardly ever buy a candy bar, so I like Reese's peanut butter cups. You know, I like anything like that. What makes me most anxious? This is another one I had to think about, because I have anxiety and I get anxious about things. But probably the worst thing for me is being late. I am a scheduled person. I like to be a scheduled person. I don't like to be late. I like to be on time. I like to have things, you know, settled. Okay, so best comfort food. Probably the very best comfort food for me, if I'm not feeling well or something, is homemade soup. Any kind of soup that's homemade. My mom and my dad both make fantastic soup. I make fantastic soup. Love it. If it's just sort of like, you know, just need something comforting, I love popcorn and I love pizza. Nicknames that my husband calls me, not married, but the husband that I had called me, what is everybody, babe, sweetheart? Sunrise or sunset? Now that one is, I like them both. Probably sunset if I have to pick. I did stop for a second to get something to drink. It made me think back to the nicknames my husband called me. My husband used to call me darling, which I thought was just, because he would say it with his southern accent. It was very cute, very sweet, very endearing to me. Okay, favorite song of all time. This is a tough one, because I have a million favorite songs of all time. But if I have to pick, and we're not going to talk about genres or about seasons like Christmas and all that, I gotta go with Bohemian Rhapsody, Queen, and the Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin. Bohemian Rhapsody, I think, was everybody's favorite. In my day, that was everybody's favorite song. The Immigrant Song from Led Zeppelin, it's not the words, it's the music. The music is phenomenal. Okay, most annoying sound in the world. An alarm. I don't like alarms. I don't like the alarm to wake me up. I don't like alarms. Any kind of whining drives me crazy. Bravest thing I've ever done. I don't know. That's a hard one. I think I've done some stupid things, like stopping traffic on the highway to save a kitten. Yeah, I've told you that story, because that was a recent thing. I do things like that, and they don't feel brave to me. They feel when I'm done with them, they feel stupid. So, but I still will never stop doing it. I can't help it. I have to save an animal if it's out there. Any living grandparents? No, I lost my grandfather's young. In fact, my father's father died when he was 5. But my grandmother did remarry. Smudge, what's wrong? Smudge is meowing, and he doesn't do that. Come on over here, Smudge. But my step-grandfather died. Well, to me, he was my grandfather. He died. Both of my grandfathers died when I was younger. And my grandmother's, I was in my 20s when they passed away. Something I would love to learn how to do. That is really interesting, because someday I think I'm going to do it, but I've always wanted to learn archery. But, you know, I do know some about it, and it's very difficult to learn. It's very, you have to be muscular to really handle it properly. And another thing is I would love to learn how to play the violin. I have almost taken violin. Have I ever been in a play? When I was in high school, I never wanted to be in the play, but I was in stage crew, and I loved it. I didn't never want to be on camera. This is very funny because this is not who I wanted to be. So for people to be watching me, no. My first heartbreak, I'm not talking about that. Biggest regret, and I have too many to mention, but I will say that they have built character in me. Favorite ice cream flavor, really hard to pick, but I love chocolate anything, and I also like a vanilla with a caramel kind of a ribbon. I don't like a lot. I know I'll eat ice cream with stuff in it, but I would rather not have stuff in it. Butter pecan, yeah, but not like all that candy and stuff. I'd rather have the creamy ice cream. Best advice someone has given me. This is funny because this has recently come up in my life, and I've talked about it with a few people. You can't help someone that won't help themselves. And that is the truth. The truth. Do I believe in ghosts? Yes, I do. Best and worst phase of my life? That's another one. I have too many to mention. My divorce was not nice. It wasn't because it wasn't nice, because my ex-husband and I get along. Of course, it's just a horrible thing. It's just very difficult. It's something that you don't want. So that's difficult. And there's a lot of other things in my life that have been, I've had a lot of ups and downs like everybody. I guess life is good now. So I'll say that for now. Top 5 favorite books of all time. This is another difficult one. I used to be an avid reader. I used to read a book every day. In summer school, I would read a book every day and get, points for that, like with school. And I loved to read, and couldn't wait to get home from whatever I was doing to read. But with YouTube, I don't read, and I don't know. I don't have time. But I would say my number 1 book of all time is the Bible, most definitely. And I do love Jane Austen, Sense and Sensibility, Emma, Pride and Prejudice, the Bronte sisters. I love them, Jane Eyre and Wuthering Heights. I love Shakespeare. I love Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird. I love Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. And I love Emily Dickinson. Her poetry is beautiful. I love it. I go through times in my life where I write poetry. I haven't in a long time. It's usually when I'm in terrible angst. I write a lot of poetry. Something I got in trouble for as a kid. My sister and I shared a bedroom. And when we were younger, we had bunk beds, and I was on the bottom, and I would kick the top bunk bed and and it would come down sometimes. And also when we did graduate to like a full-size bed, I'm sorry, I'm shaking that. I would kick her out of bed. I'm the older sister, so, I had to do stuff like that. Something I struggle with would be, what I struggle the most with my whole entire life is my weight. Why did I start my YouTube channel? I started my YouTube channel because I started to get subscription boxes, and I started watching YouTube, and I thought it was really fun. And then I won a giveaway from Kim's Happy Place, and I thought, I'm going to do a video. And that's how I started. And then I had some subscription boxes, so I started to show them. So, do I have any allergies? Yes, I do. I'm allergic to penicillin. I'm allergic to nail polish remover. I'm allergic to some pollens outside. Anything that's harsh chemically can bother me. What sports did I play growing up? And that answer is 0. Absolutely 0. In my school, we didn't have sports for the kids, so I didn't play any. And I had Osgood-Schlatter's disease, which I think is a thing you have your whole life. It's a knee issue with cartilage. I don't have any cartilage in my knee, so I had to wear a brace kind of a thing, and so I probably wouldn't have done anything anyway. Weirdest dream I've ever had? I have very weird dreams every night. I have weird, crazy dreams. But the ones that happen a lot is I'm flying, I'm nude. A lot of the ones that really bother me is I can't get to someone. Like they're just right there. They're just right on the other side of the window, the other side of the door. the other room, but I can see them, they can see me, we're trying to get to each other and we can't get to each other. Or I'm trying to communicate and the person can't understand, or I can't understand them. What superpower would I love to have? I have a hearing deficit, so when I say that, I can hear things that other people cannot hear. And I'm not saying I have voices in my head, so don't worry about me, but I mean, I'm not trying to make fun of anybody either when I say that. I probably shouldn't have said that, but I can hear really low tones, like I can hear a dog whimpering where other people can't, you know, but I can't hear, you know, what the doctor told me years and years ago. I'll never hear a man whisper sweet nothings in my ear. That's true, because a man's voice is low. So when soft tones, sharp tones, it's hard to explain what I can hear and what I can't hear. But anyway, but I would like to be able to hear and hear everything. Worst fashion trend. For me, I know they're back in and they're a big deal, but leggings. I wore leggings. Was that in the 80s or in the 90s? But I don't ever want to wear leggings again. It was horrible. I mean, I think they're horrible. I don't like them. So if you wear them, and probably everybody does, so I apologize. First celebrity crush. I was crazy in love with several. David Cassidy, Donny Osmond, Bobby Sherman. You know, I had all those posters on my bedroom walls, you know, that kind of thing. Smudge, come up and say, hey. Weirdest thing that I believed as a kid? I don't know, because I was really trying to think about this one. I was a little smarty. I was a little smarty. I was a smart kid. The only thing that came up into my mind when I was trying to think about this was I came home one day from school, and I was in grammar school. I don't remember what grade, but I said to my mom, because I thought, oh, I've got one over. I'm smarter than my mom. You know, every kid probably thinks that, but I was like, I'm smarter than my mom. And my mom, let me tell you, my mom is really smart. I came in the house and I said, Mom, can I have a cup of H2O? And she poured me a glass of water, and I about died, because I thought, surely she doesn't know what this means. But she did. H2O is water, and that made me mad. Okay. So I think, you know, we think that our parents aren't smart, but they are. And then that were the questions. Those are the questions, y'all. But because I am an OCD kind of person, I counted these questions, and there were only 49. And I went back to Andy's. She has the questions listed in her description, and there were only 49. And I went to Erica Conger, and and I don't think she had hers listed. So I made number 50, okay? Because I have to have it be 50. What did you want to be when you grew up? I thought that's a good one. So I'll add that. I'll have all 50 questions in my description if anybody's interested in doing this tag, because I know a lot of people have done it. I'm going to tag a couple people, I think. I'm going to think about it. But what did I want to be when I grew up? I started off wanting to be a nurse, and my dad said to me, see, I was a smart kid. My dad's like, why don't you be a doctor? Because when I was a kid, women weren't doctors. But then I was like, yeah, then I want to be a doctor. And then I worked one summer with my cousin, and he's an accountant. And then I was like, I want to be an accountant. So, but that is that. So I'm going to tag some people. And if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it, because I don't know who's been tagged. And like I said, I know other people have done it, and I don't know who they've tagged. But I'm going to tag Julie from Bootsy on the Beat, and I'm going to tag Arlene from Unboxings with Arlene. And if you ladies have already done this, or you don't want to do it, don't feel like you have to do it. But if you'd like to do it, it's sort of fun. So anyway, y'all, thanks so much for stopping by and hearing these crazy answers. And anybody that wants to do it, you know, do it. It's fun. And Smudge, you want to say, hey, are you not feeling good, Smudge? Oh, hey, he's got, oh, yeah, he had something in his mouth. It's just a big string of fur. But he's been, he threw up this morning, so, and he hasn't done that in a long time. And Smudge is my cat that he throws up. For years, he's thrown up every single day. And then we finally got it figured out a little bit. That it's a long story. But anyway, he's much better. But he threw up this morning, so he might not be feeling his best. Anyway, y'all, thanks for stopping by. Count your blessings and take care. All right, bye-bye.